There was yet another wave of drama surrounding Ferrari, and this time it extended beyond the performance on track. Lewis Hamilton, alongside his race engineer, revealed something that had been hidden in plain sight for too long. At the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, the spiritual home of the Tifosi, a revelation surfaced that not only shook the Ferrari garage, but also sent shockwaves through the paddock and triggered a frenzy across the Formula One world. The burning question everyone began to ask was simple yet powerful. What was the secret Ferrari had been keeping that Hamilton chose to reveal in front of the world? Monza should have been a dream occasion for Ferrari and its newly recruited star. Thousands of passionate fans filled the grandstands, dressed in red, waving flags, and singing their chants, all hoping to witness the seven-time world champion take another step toward returning the Scuderia to its former glory. Yet instead of basking in celebration, Ferrari found itself facing a firestorm after Hamilton's post-race comments lit up headlines. Hamilton explained that he had been in the perfect position to strike from the very beginning. His launch off the line was strong, so strong that he even had to lift slightly to avoid a collision. Nevertheless, he positioned his car with the precision only years of experience could deliver. As the laps unfolded and the rhythm of the race began to settle, Hamilton sat comfortably behind George Russell, trailing by just 1.5 seconds. The ideal opportunity for an undercut had presented itself clearly, a chance to leapfrog Russell and secure vital track position. But Ferrari faltered. Russell dived into the pits first, while Hamilton was left circulating on worn tires a little too long. By the time Ferrari finally called him in, the strategic window had narrowed almost completely. The damage was already done, and by the end of the sequence Hamilton had fallen behind in the fight for fifth. According to Hamilton, the position wasn't lost because of pace, nor was it lost because of a driving error. Instead, it slipped away because of hesitation and indecision on the pit wall. His tone after the race wasn't angry or emotional, but razor-sharp, almost surgical in how he delivered his assessment. A driver of his caliber knows all too well that in Formula One, the fine line between victory and defeat is often drawn not on the racing line, but in the pit lane. Those crucial seconds of decision-making matter more than anything else, and Ferrari had failed to act quickly enough. Yet what made Hamilton's words stand out wasn't just the criticism itself, but the deeper meaning behind it. This wasn't a driver pointing fingers for the sake of frustration. It was a message, a demand, a clear statement of intent. Ferrari, in Hamilton's eyes, had been trapped in mediocrity for too long, too often finding themselves behind McLaren and Red Bull. His message was brutally simple: every detail counts. Every decision could make or break a race. Settling for sixth place wasn't acceptable. He wanted Ferrari to think faster, act bolder, and perform at the level expected of a team that claims to be chasing championships. For Hamilton, moments like the one at Monza couldn't be allowed to slip away again. Still, beyond the criticism, Hamilton also offered optimism. For the first time since joining Ferrari, he admitted he felt a genuine connection with the SF25. The car, which at the start of the season had been twitchy and difficult to control, was finally beginning to respond to him. He described the handling as more natural, the tire management as smoother, and the rhythm of the race as something he could flow with instead of merely surviving. Reflecting on his sixth-place finish, Hamilton admitted it wasn't the result he wanted, but it represented progress. The car felt stable, it felt balanced, and most importantly, it gave him the sense that Ferrari was on the right track. Equally striking were his reflections on the emotional experience of Monza. Hamilton admitted to feeling goosebumps as he exited the garage, the sound of the crowd roaring through the air and shaking the ground beneath his feet. Every overtake was met with an eruption of noise, a wave of energy that pushed him harder with every lap. Monza, he said, wasn't just support, it was devotion. He even compared it to Brazilian football, raw, passionate, and unmatched anywhere else. For anyone still doubting whether Hamilton could truly connect with Ferrari's soul, his words provided the perfect answer. He didn't just wear the red suit, he lived it. After the race, Riccardo Adami, Hamilton's race engineer, offered his own insight into what had unfolded. He explained that he fully understood Hamilton's disappointment and admitted that from the cockpit, Lewis had every reason to believe an opportunity to attack Russell was clear. However, from the pit wall, the situation wasn't as simple. Adami pointed out that the team had to weigh several factors: tire degradation, the risk of traffic, and the potential for the undercut to backfire. He insisted that Ferrari's call wasn't purely hesitation, but an attempt to consider the bigger picture. Still, he acknowledged that if Ferrari truly wanted to fight at the front, they needed to be more aggressive. Hamilton, he said, is a 7-time world champion who knows exactly when to strike, and his honesty should be seen as a positive. Criticism like this wasn't damaging, but constructive. It was a reminder that Ferrari couldn't afford to play it safe, not if they wanted to go toe-to-toe with McLaren and Red Bull. Adami even revealed how Hamilton had been raising the standards inside the garage since the start of the season. Communication with him had grown more intense, sometimes even stressful, but always in a way that pushed the team forward. Hamilton demanded attention to detail, whether in tire strategy, brake balance, or racing lines in particular corners, and it forced everyone to think faster, smarter, and with more precision. Adami emphasized that while fans might see Hamilton's words as divisive, within the team, they were being taken as motivation. Monza, he admitted, was painful because losing opportunities at home hurts more than anywhere else. But he reassured the Tifosi that this was the beginning of something stronger, not the start of a fracture. He promised that Ferrari would respond, and that next time the team would be better prepared to make bold calls under pressure. Despite all the emotion of Monza, Hamilton himself refused to dwell too long on the disappointment. He looked ahead, admitting that Ferrari still had a long way to go before they could match the speed and consistency of Red Bull and McLaren. The SF25 wasn't yet a car capable of winning week in, week out. But he also highlighted the progress being made. Adjustments to brake mapping, tire setup, and overall balance were beginning to deliver tangible results. The car was becoming more consistent, and the confidence inside the cockpit was building with every lap. With the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the horizon, Hamilton revealed that he would treat the challenge of Baku as an opportunity to further understand the evolving SF25. He noted that the unique layout, with its mix of long straights and tight corners, would provide the perfect test. Crucially, Ferrari's improvements in the low-speed sections, traditionally their weakness, gave him reason to believe they could take another step forward. What Hamilton revealed at Monza was more than just analysis of one race. It was a declaration of intent. He made it clear that he wouldn't sit idly by while Ferrari squandered opportunities. It was a signal that while Ferrari was improving, they still needed to raise their game, and that he was ready to lead by example both on track and in shaping the mentality of the team. Calm but confident, Hamilton showed that his arrival at Ferrari wasn't about adding his name to the long list of drivers who had worn red. It was about rewriting history, demanding the highest standards, and creating a culture where success wasn't a dream, but an expectation. For Ferrari, the message was unmistakable. If they wanted to truly make the most of Hamilton's presence, they would need to move quickly, think boldly, and match the relentless ambition of their champion. For the Tifosi, it was exactly what they had been waiting to hear. They had longed for a driver who wouldn't settle, who wouldn't be satisfied with nostalgia, but who would push Ferrari back to where they belong, at the very top. Monza wasn't the fairy tale victory the fans had hoped for, but it was a turning point. It was the moment when Hamilton's vision for Ferrari became crystal clear. He wasn't here just to be part of their history. He was here to carve out a new chapter, one defined by passion, pressure, and the hunger to win. The only question left hanging in the air was whether Ferrari could rise to the challenge in time for the next race.